So, welcome back. Let's hope everything is working over here. Looks like it's set up correctly. So, busy day today. Oh my gosh. So, it's Wednesday, July the 9th. It's 4 p.m., which means I've completed my work day basically. I think I'm going to work on the vector database tonight and install that on my MacBook because I need a solid way to run my vector databases, and so hopefully there's enough space and memory and speed enough to get that working. I don't think I'm going to be creating very large indexes to begin with, but for sure I'm going to need this to do almost all of the things down the pipe. The job searching, I need a vector database for that. I need a vector database for my new test automation project to start acquiring knowledge about the application that I'm testing. So that should be pretty interesting. So let's go back. Let's go back to the start. I started planning my day, and I right away thought that I was going to skip running today because I felt like I need a rest day. So I think I did my small breakfast deal, and then I decided I'm going to do a run. I'm going to do a short one, because just to see how it goes. If it doesn't work out, I just walk back and not bother about it. So I started out on my run. I did the first loop, I think 1.5 miles, I think. And I thought, you know what? I feel pretty good. I'm going to go for it and see if I can do 4 miles. So I did the 4 miles. And I was like, you know what? It'd be great if I could do 6 miles today. So I did another loop. But when I was coming around on the other loop, I was only at 5.5 miles. So I thought to myself, I'll just run up this hill and then I'll just walk back down just to get to the 6 miles. So I got all the way up. I was coming down the hill. It was further than I thought, so I was already down the hill. And I was like, I could walk back from here, but I feel like I could just finish the loop off, and then I'd have the 6 miles and whatever else. And it turned out that when I got home, it was exactly 7 miles. So I did a 7-mile run. I was expecting to do no miles running. Then I decided I'll do a short run. Then I wanted to go for the 4 miles. Then I wanted to go for the 6 miles. And so I ended up doing 7 miles, which is 15 miles for this week because I ran 4 miles on Monday, 4 miles on Tuesday, and 7 miles on Wednesday. So yeah, that went pretty well. One of the secrets, I think, is to keep your breath. Concentrate on keeping your breath at a normal rate, like 4 steps to each in-breath, out-breath. And keeping your body level, not to bounce and cause injuries on your knees. So that was my running experience for the day and my tips on running. Now after that, I got back, I started planning, what am I going to do with this vector database? And I was like, well, I could do AWS. And it's like you could create a high availability cluster and run that, but it's quite difficult to do it, and it would cost a lot of money potentially. So I'll probably do that, but I'll stand it up and put it down. It won't be where I keep my actual vector data. It'll be just to show that this could be done for a client or a company. And so, having done that, figured that out, I was like, well, what about DigitalOcean? That sounds cheaper because you don't have to pay for the I/O, transferring the data forwards and back. But it turns out to have a fairly large, what do you call it, a block? A data storage. It's quite expensive once you get, to a decent size of database. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to do this locally, but on a different machine, because I have another MacBook Pro sitting here, and I believe I can run it on there when I need it, shut it down when I don't need it, but the data will be saved, hopefully. So I've got to figure that out, because I want to have a database that I can use. And I want that to be persistent. So I'm going to run it on Docker, but I'm going to look at setting up persistence so that I can shut it down, but I still have the data. I can start it up again. And I always have the option to reload the data, because there's no cost for working off the cloud, right? I can send data from my files. I can create embedding and upload those embeddings into the database anytime I want, so I can keep them on my 4 terabyte drive here. So that's great. So I was working that out, but then we needed to scan some things really quickly, and I have that fast scanner that I talked about that I purchased and received. So I set all that up. It took quite a bit of work to set that up. I had to unbox it. I had to take off all of the tape and stuff that they put on there. There's loads of tape, package tape on it that you got to take off. And then you've got to install the software on your Mac to work with the printer, because I'm going to be using it wirelessly. So I'm not connecting a USB cable, but I'm setting it up by itself. And then I am installing the software. But as soon as I got the software installed and running, I had to look up my Wi-Fi password, because I have to set that on the scanner so it knows how to accept scan requests and so on. And then I had to look that up and get that done. Then it wanted to do a firmware update, which took another, 20, 25 minutes to get that. Then it was ready to use. So I got the documents, popped them in, and bang, they went through in seconds. It ripped right through them. It was insanely fast. So that worked out really well. That'll be useful going forward when I want to scan all my documents and potentially shred them to save space. And then, so after that, after I got all that sorted out, I got a request for testing. So a request came in to test an application, Python application. So I got the URL of the GitHub account, the GitHub repository, and I was able to get that installed. So I cloned the repository locally. Now I have all the stuff. I have all the code on my local machine. Then I want to set up a Python environment and install the packages in that environment to safely keep that as a separate Python project from my other Python stuff that I'm doing. So I wanted to use PDM to do that because I've had success with that in the past. So I downloaded that. Well, I had that tool already installed. So I ran an init. It created a PyProject TOML file. So on the install, I used PDM to install the software, and then PDM to run it. Now, the running part didn't go as well because I needed a config file, but I also needed a MongoDB set up locally. So I had to install MongoDB, configure the config file to use this MongoDB database, and potentially add a database to the Mongo instance. I'm not sure if I need to do that or not. Potentially not, but I did it. So we'll have to see if that was a step that's needed or not. So then, after getting all that done, I didn't have the front end running. This was just the back end, but I did have the REST API up, and I could see that that was working. Then I had to go in and use my NVM, which is a manager for Node versions. And I had to change the Node version because I was using an older version for another project. So I had to come in and use NVM to install a newer version of Node, and then set that to be the default Node interpreter that I'm using. And once I did that, I had to then install, using npm, a ng, which is the tools and libraries for Node.js to create Angular websites. So I had to build the front end using ngserve and run it, and then when I got that up, I could see the front end, and I could go to a URL that's on my local host, and I could see the application running. So that's as far as I got with that. I found another document that explains what the tool is supposed to do, which will help me design tests, obviously, so that I understand what outcomes the users are looking for using the tool. So I got all that done, and like I said, it's now 4 p.m. and I want to try and get that vector database running, because as I test this application, I'm going to be adding notes, and I'm going to create embeddings for everything that I do, so that an agent will understand how to test this application, and will start learning. So that's the next steps. It's kind of all falling into place. Didn't realize that a application to actually test was going to fall into my lap that actually requires testing. So that is great, because now I have a proof of concept application to test that I can start using these new AI principles on. So that's it for today. That's my day. Be back here tomorrow, Thursday, July the 10th. See you then.